Hello, how are you? These are our brand new planning and goal setting student diaries. So these are designed for year 6 and high school. So I've got my 2 kids ones here. There are 2 different designs and they are personalized. So I'll move that one over. They're exactly the same on the inside other than the cover page. So the point of these kids now, I don't know whether it's kids now or in thinking about it, I don't think I was ever taught how to plan and goal set until I actually had my own business and did coaching. So we do have the planning and goal setting side to teach they're not little ones anymore, but to teach our kids, to set goals, but also to take responsibility, to be accountable, to not have everything as everyone else's fault, because that's something we're noticing with the generation before us and then our kids as well. Everything seems to be given to them. They have this sense of entitlement, and that's not going to fly in my house. Yeah. So I've done these for my kids to really teach them and start. I wouldn't give this to a year 7 kid and expect them to have it down pat. It's going to be a huge amount of trial and error. And you think with a kid that's say 12, 13, 14, they don't have life experience like we have as adults. So it really is trial and error. It's not to change the world for these kids, but it's to give them that starting point and actually equip them to become responsible adults. And I think that needs to happen now. Yeah. And, to give them tools to equip them to actually do well at school and manage their time and manage their assignments and their priorities. And, a big one for us is my little ones come in at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night and let me know that something's due tomorrow as far as a permission slip or payment or whatever else. So I've added that into here as well. Sorry, I wasn't turning pages while I was talking then. I'll come back to the goal setting. What I really love about this diary, so again, even if you want to boot the goal setting to start with or do that as a slower process with your little one, use it for this. Yeah, I love this way of planning, and I've got the mums one as well. The planning and goal setting diary. This has been changed specifically for students. So we've got our homework in here. Any readings that you have to do, maths homework, HAS homework, whatever else goes in here for the day. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's all dated. Yeah. Another thing I noticed, you've got this week here, which is the week of the year. Because we're in WA, even our schools here start at different times, whether you're private or independent or public, whatever. So you've got the space here to put the term and the week of your term. Yeah. So this can be used at any school. This week, the week of the year, doesn't change for anyone. So we've got our homework. We've then got projects and assignments that are due. So these are your bigger things. If your assignment's going to take a week to work on, there's no point starting the night before. Yes, so to know when these things are, and also teaching my little ones now to, they're not going to go have a play date or go ride on the bikes with their mates if they've got homework or assignment due the next day. Does that make sense? So they can actually start to plan their time and see, all right, I've got these things. And again, it's not going to happen perfectly to start with, but this is a stepping stone and a tool to teach them how to manage and cope with this. Yes, knowing when your homework is in and your projects. So these are going to be your priorities as a student. To put exercise in, to actually plan to do that, whether it's a bike ride or a walk or whether you go to the gym or whatever it is your kids do, whether it's sporting commitments. I've got appointments there which you can put your sporting commitments in as well. I'll leave that up to you how you break that up. Chores is a big one. My kid, you've got homework, but you still got jobs to do. Yeah, and they need to be done every day. And I find if they're written down, then I'm not nagging them, because the whole nagging thing is they just seem to build this wall up straight away when they know they've got something to do. Or rather, if they've forgotten and then you're verbally telling them, especially when they're run down at the end of the day. So I find if it's written down, we actually have a separate planner for this as well. But if it's written down, they can just tick it off and do it, and they're not having that pressure from mum or dad. Work, if your kids are older and they're managing a job as well, they can put their shifts in here, or however that works in your family with your kids. And then social's not deliberately last. It is really important for our kids as well, but I really want my kids to understand that they've got commitments in. Missy had something, whether it's speech or some appointment after school, and she's like, oh, you can just cancel that so I can go shopping with my friends. And that for her, she didn't see or understand that you can't do that. And I really want to teach our kids to hold their commitments, and follow through with what they've said they would do, and then work their social life around it. Yeah. And then we go into the priorities and the goals, things to check with parents. this one. I haven't given this to my kids yet. I've literally just printed it 20 minutes ago. So I'm really interested to see how this bit works. This is where, having this at school, writing in the diary, all right, I've got a note from homeroom that I need this signed or done or acknowledged or whatever for it to go in here, and then come home and check with me. We also have a sticky note system as well. So if anything needs to be paid, so if they've got anything written here, they know it will go on a sticky note and they stick it on my laptop, and I will deal with it first thing in the morning when I'm up at 5, 6, child free time. That's when I deal with things. My kids have a great habit of asking me in the shower, on the toilet, when I'm driving, or after 9 p.m. And they are not times where I deal with things. So that's when we brought in the sticky note system. All right. So, this is the best feature of it. You've then got your daily planner. So today's task, you've got all the boxes to tick them off as you go, your priorities for the day. Again, giving this to your little one or high school kid to start, they may not have a sense of their priorities. If they haven't been taught yet, again, this is the tool to help teach them. They can work on this in time. They may, it really doesn't matter if they balls it up. At least they're trying and they're starting, and they will get used to that process. Things I'm grateful for. So that's just to, our kids, high school kids in particular, our teenagers are very egocentric. That means they think about themselves. It doesn't mean they can't think about someone else, so very much like toddlers, but their worlds are all about them. So we can just start to bring in little things for them to think about, or things to be grateful for, things to think about that are bigger than just their worlds in that moment. Yes, so that's why I've put these bits in here as well. I also did this one, I forgot to, this is in the mums one as well, because I think it's hugely important. The amount of people that you can get mad at, take offense for, when the other person doesn't even know half the time, and then you've got people living rent free in your head, yes, which you are not going to achieve your goals and enjoy your day if you're mad at someone. So I've put this in, and it's a habit that I'm getting into as well, or gotten into, and it makes a massive difference to just run through in the morning or whenever it pops up during the day. All right, I've got to let that go so that I can move forwards and get past this, because the other person doesn't care. It's not about them. It's about, giving you back your brain space and using that energy on your kids, on your job, on your life. Yeah. Okay. So going back to the planning and goal setting, read this. I'm not going to read that to you. Well, that's for your kid to read. All right, so starting at the very beginning, how are you going to plan and set goals if you don't know what you want? And for some of our kids, they will be clear. For mine, I have no clue what they're going to come up with their goals, or if they're even going to start with goals. I'm going to see how that goes and, talk through that process with them. So to find out what you want, we've got the reflection pages. So here. What I loved in 2021, what I liked, what I'll keep, what I'll change, what I'd like to learn, what I'd like to try. These, again, may not be relevant. Don't feel that you have to sit there or either with your kid or give it to your kid and that they have to fill out every single little bit. Do the bits that, are meaningful to you. Yeah? What I'd like to do with my family this year, what I'd like to do for others this year, and then another way of looking at it. So some may be completely fine with this side. Others will want to look at the different areas of their life and plan this way. You can do both if you want to. And then, so a comparison, this is how it looked in 2021, how I would like it to look in 2022. So we're just going through that process of finding out where we're at, where we want to be. I've chucked this in as well, again, so we're thinking about someone else, not just about ourselves. You find with mental health, your thought processes, your processing, how you're coping with life. If you stop thinking and running round and round and round the thoughts in your head about how people have hurt you or offended you or blah, 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 but start thinking about someone else or volunteering or getting involved in other people's lives, you find things that were big and hurtful to you can get smaller. Yes, I'm not saying that in every case. I know there's your mental health issues and, different things going on there. But as a general rule, if we can stop thinking about ourselves and get our teens into this habit as well, and to start thinking about others, start thinking bigger picture or giving back somewhere, that can make a difference as well. So I have put that in there. Now, we've got our goals. Now, for the teen one, in the mums one, we set 1 to 3 goals per year, and I did it 2 personal and then 1 family. for our teens, they don't have as much life experience as far as what's realistic, what to expect of ourselves. Their lives are changing so quickly. Yeah. So I have suggested, and again, it'll change for every kid, to have maybe one goal for the year and then one goal for the term, and having that smaller period to set a goal and then track. They can then adjust it for the next term, especially if they haven't quite reached expectations, or if they smash the goal in the first 2 weeks, they could aim higher in the next term. Does that make sense? So you do have 6 pages of those goal setting. I have gone into let me just switch back here for a sec. So you do the reflection work. I don't need to read through all of it. Setting your smarter goals. So specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, time-bound, ethical, and recorded. So we want to be specific with our goals. Yes, we don't want to set our willy-nilly half-assed ones. So we want to have a time that we're going to achieve it by. How are we going to know when it's achieved? So we want to be able to measure that goal. So you wouldn't have a goal. I used books and I used weight loss in the last video. Maybe a savings goal, saving up for a laptop, say, although my kids are starting high school with one. Say they want to save for a laptop, yes? There's no point putting, I want a laptop. They need to actually have a specific plan of how they're going to get it. Getting a job would be a good start. Yeah, so that's where we're breaking down our goals as well. So having the yearly goals, but what does that actually look like for the semester, for the term, for the week? What does that look like daily? Yeah, and you want to have a date by when you want to achieve this. By agreed. So are you working on someone else with your goal? Particularly with your kids, it may involve family as well. So say if you've got your 14-year-old saving up for something, they need to work, but they also need to make sure you're available, I presume, to get them to work. Yes, so encouraging your kids to get the family on board. And do they agree with the steps? And this is somewhere where you can help your kids as well, step out that process with them. Is it realistic? I think this is the biggest bit where our kids are going to struggle because they don't have that life experience. But again, trial and error. Yeah, setting those goals, tracking, seeing how you're going, and then resetting them. Time bound, so again, putting in the, making sure it's measurable, but having that end time frame in there. Ethical, so make sure you're not stomping on someone else's dreams to reach your goal. Yeah, and then recorded, so we're recording it down in our goals here, and then we've got our term planners here. So we're putting the goals in there, whether they are yearly, semester, or term goals, just put them at the top there. We're breaking them down into steps. So say it was saving for a laptop, but I don't have a job. My first step is going to be getting a job. Yeah. Again, making sure someone's available to take me, or I can ride my bike there, or whatever else. Does this make sense? So we're having a big goal, but we're breaking that down into smaller goals and the steps that we need to do to reach them. And then for our students, I've put assignments here as well. You could have brilliant goals, but if you're in year 11, year 12 doing your ATAR, that's going to have to be your priority, and you're going to have to take that into account. Yes, you're not presumably going to be working the night before you have exams and whatnot. So learning to manage your time, learning to look ahead. So for my term planner here, I know I've got these assignments due over the term. I'm then going to chuck them in here. And then as I go through my weeks, I'm going to fill it out in my weekly, in these ones. Whoops, sorry, there, your projects. So I've put all the terms together. Again, ideally, I would have liked to have the term and then all the weeks. But because all our schools start at different times, I would have to have a different diary or a number of different diaries for each state, and that's going to do my head in. So all our term planners are at the beginning here, which are easy to find. You've got term 1, you've got your reflections there as well. Brain dump. Sorry, I know I'm going backwards and forwards a little bit. There's just so much in here, and I'm not sure you want to listen to me for 20 minutes. This one is a good way to reflect, get everything out. For my girl starting high school, that is a huge step and a huge change compared to primary school. this is a good chance at the end of the term when, you know, expectations may be more realistic, I suppose. Same with your kids going from year 10 into year 11 and 12. Life may not just be going to plan or as expected. This is a great way to just unload everything that's going on before setting the next lot of goals in term 2. So you've got term 2 there, your planner. I have put up to week 11. Sometimes our weeks go to 9 or 11 weeks. I'm pretty sure they don't go over. So just because it's there doesn't mean you're going to use it. You can scrap it out if you need to for your state, your school. Term 2, so we've got our reflections. So how did it go? What do I need to adjust? What did I do well? What could have I done better? What would I do differently next time? And notes. Then we've got term 3 and term 4, and then it runs into your weeks. So this week's already done. We're at week 2. Again, I didn't put holidays in because they change between schools and states. I am going to stop talking now. I'm pretty sure I have covered most of it. Anything I've missed is actually written out in text in the beginning there anyway, and on that front letter. I hope you love it. I will talk to you soon. Bye.